Welcome to Sex Education Repo, your go-to channel for exploring the fascinating corners of human history and culture. Today, we're stepping into the surprising world of high heels, a fashion staple we almost exclusively associate with women. But what if I told you that for centuries, these towering shoes were the exclusive domain of men? Let's journey back to 10th century Persia, a land of vast deserts and skilled horsemen. Here, amidst the sand and sun, we find the origin of the high heel. Persian soldiers, renowned for their equestrian prowess, were the first to adopt this seemingly impractical footwear. They weren't wearing them for fashion, but for function. The heel was a crucial piece of military equipment, designed to secure a rider's foot in the stirrups. This added stability was a game-changer on the battlefield. It allowed the archer to stand up securely in the stirrups, providing a steadier base from which to draw his bow and fire arrows with greater accuracy and power. The heel essentially locked the foot in place, preventing it from slipping forward. For a cavalry that relied on shooting on the move, this small addition to their riding boots was a significant tactical advantage, making them a more formidable and effective fighting force. As the 16th century drew to a close, Persia sought to build alliances with Western Europe against their common enemy, the powerful Ottoman Empire. Shah Abbas I, a charismatic and forward-thinking ruler, dispatched diplomatic missions to various European courts, including those in Russia, Germany, and Spain. These Persian diplomats, with their exotic attire and confident bearing, brought their culture and customs with them. And on their feet were the very same heeled shoes that gave their cavalry an edge. European aristocrats were immediately captivated. This was a time of intense fascination with all things Persian. The European upper class saw these heeled shoes not as practical riding gear, but as a symbol of exotic masculinity, power, and a connection to the legendary Persian warriors. They quickly adopted the style, and high heels began to appear on the feet of noblemen across the continent. It was the beginning of a major fashion trend, one that would define aristocratic masculinity for decades to come. The heel was seen as manly and virile. It lifted a man's stature, making him appear taller and more imposing. This physical elevation translated into a symbolic one, signifying social standing and authority. In a society where height was often equated with power and nobility, the high heel was the perfect accessory for an ambitious aristocrat looking to make his mark. It was a clear and visible statement of rank and privilege. The trend reached its absolute zenith in the court of King Louis XIV of France, the Sun King. Louis was a master of using fashion as a political tool, and he embraced high heels with unmatched enthusiasm. Standing at a modest 5 feet 4 inches, Louis used heels to augment his height and project an image of absolute power and divine authority. His shoes were elaborate works of art, often decorated with intricate scenes of battles on the heels and soles. He famously favored red heels, a color that was incredibly expensive to produce at the time, making it a powerful symbol of wealth and status. The dye, made from the cochineal beetle, was a costly import, accessible only to the super-rich. Louis XIV took this symbolism a step further. He issued an edict declaring that only members of his court were permitted to wear red heels. The closer your social proximity to the king, the higher your heel could be. This turned footwear into a visible and strictly regulated hierarchy. A glance at a man's shoes could tell you his exact standing within the French court. A red heel was a sign of royal favor, a privilege granted directly by the king himself. If you fell out of favor, your right to wear red heels could be revoked. It was a potent and public way for the king to assert his control and remind everyone of their place in the social order. As the 17th century progressed, women in aristocratic circles began to adopt masculine trends in an effort to assert their own power and equality. They started cutting their hair short, smoking pipes, and wearing clothes inspired by men's fashion. Naturally, this included high heels. Women began wearing them as a way to appropriate masculine power and signal their fashionable, forward-thinking status. The initial female versions were quite chunky and similar to the men's styles. Over time, however, the design of the high heel began to diverge. The Enlightenment era brought with it a new emphasis on rationality and practicality. Men's fashion shifted towards more sober, functional, and less ornate clothing. Intellectuals argued that men were rational beings, and their clothing should reflect this. Extravagant and decorative styles were increasingly seen as frivolous and irrational, traits that society began to associate more with women. As a result, men's heels became lower, squarer, and more robust. Women's heels, on the other hand, grew taller, thinner, and more ornamental. The stiletto, the delicate spike heel we know today, was a direct descendant of this divergence. By the mid-18th century, men had largely abandoned the high heel. The French Revolution dealt the final blow to this aristocratic symbol. In the New Republic, anything associated with the excesses of the monarchy was rejected, and high heels became decidedly unfashionable for men. The shoe that had once been a symbol of Persian military might and European masculine power was now almost exclusively a part of the female wardrobe. Its meaning had completely transformed. It went from being a tool of war to a symbol of aristocratic privilege, and finally, to an emblem of femininity. Over the next 2 centuries, the high heel's journey in women's fashion would continue to evolve, with its popularity waxing and waning with the changing tides of culture. Today, the high heel is a complex symbol. For some, it represents glamour, confidence, and feminine power. For others, it's a symbol of impracticality, discomfort, and the societal pressures placed on women. But its origins tell a different story. They remind us that the things we consider inherently masculine or feminine are often just social constructs, shaped by centuries of history, culture, and power dynamics. The journey of the high heel, from a Persian soldier's boot to a king's status symbol and finally to a staple of women's fashion, is a powerful testament to how dramatically the meanings of our clothes can change over time. It's a fascinating piece of fashion history that challenges our modern assumptions and reveals the surprising origins of the world around us. Thank you for watching. If you found this dive into fashion history interesting, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content from Sex Education Repo.